was suppressed by a protest, civil peaceful gatherings, and legal principles that
I am going to be talking about a bull. The kindness is a language which deaf can hear and the blind can see.
How did IT change the way of living?
Online learning is a form of learning that data. Online courses need answers and will dictate them for a long period of time.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to our Facebook, YouTube live. So you can watch this live on our Facebook. If you have Facebook, yes, you can watch us through Facebook. And if you have YouTube, search pufferfish.lk or pufferfish public speaking, and you can find us on Facebook. So yesterday we went live, and a few of the learners spoke about how they have managed to survive 2022, because now everyone is on survival mode. Like, how am I gonna survive 2023? It's really scary. So we all managed to survive, and today we are going to just discuss a few things that we have learned from last year. So before we do that, dear learners, shall we all give a big smile? Smile with your teeth. Where Sumaya is not smiling at all. Why, Sumaya? Smile. Even more. Smile a little bit more. Oh, all of us have forgotten how to smile. Oh, that is really sad. Okay. All right. I saw a small smile from Azmat. Amira is like, that's it. Okay. Sumaya is like, no, I'm not going to smile today. Ever. Oh, I saw the teeth a little bit. Okay. And we got Raifa. Are you there, Raifa? All right, she is there as well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so let's hear it. First, I want to share with us. We learn 22.
Shall I start the speech?
Yes, go on.
Hello and good evening, everyone. Today I am here to talk about the gorgeous and beautiful country called Switzerland. First of all, I will start on some information about Switzerland, then move on to the things that I learned from 2022. Switzerland is a mountainous Central European country which is home to numerous lakes, villages, and peaks. It is one of the world's most attractive countries. More than 8 million people live in Switzerland. Switzerland is about 444 billion square feet long. It is the world's cleanest country. The capital city of Switzerland is called the Bern. If we talk about the climate of Switzerland, it is not hot at all. It has a climate of 15 Celsius all around the year. But only on the month of July, it has a climate of 22 Celsius. Have you ever wondered where the first chocolate bar came from? Switzerland is the proud creator of the first chocolate bar, which is being shipped all around the world. Switzerland is also known for the world's most tourist visited country. More than 11 million people comes to visit Switzerland every year. Matterhorn is one of the world's most beautiful and iconic places in Switzerland. It is about 4,000 meters high. Today, thousands of tourists comes to hike this mountain every year. The next place is called Lake Geneva. It's a Europe's largest lake. The definition of Geneva comes from a Latin language. It is the definition is called peace. Okay, that's the end of the small information about Switzerland. Now let's move on to the things that I learned from 2022 about this country. Have you ever wondered why Switzerland is a so developed country? Well, there are several reasons for that. One of them is that their economic system. The economic system of Switzerland makes the country way and way developer. It makes the country day by day develop too. The one thing that I learned from 2022 is that every country in the world should have a good economic system. So that if you have a good economic system in a country, it makes the country develop every day. The second thing is that human habits. As an example, Switzerland is the cleanest country in the world. How would it be possible? It's because the people on those countries doesn't litter on public. The second thing that I learned from 2022 is that every human in the world should have a great discipline and they should have a good mindset, not to harm the environment, not to harm the country. So, if you have a good mindset, the country will be developed every day, so that the country could pass the way better developed countries too. That's the end of my speech. I hope everybody enjoyed that. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing that, Azmat. And I'm glad that you have picked up like an example, like you picked Switzerland as an example, and then you started to describe everything around that. People don't litter on the streets, the way they maintain their health. It's really interesting the way you have picked up an example and explaining it, because if you just explain it, people won't get it. People are like, oh yeah, I know that, don't litter on the street. Yes, yeah, I know that. But the moment you bring in good examples, it makes them think that, oh yes, there are places where people are following these things. It's not something that is not practical at all. It's totally practical. All right, thank you for sharing that. And Hamshad, if you're there, please turn on your camera so we can see you as well. Now, let's listen to Sumaya. Sumaya, over to you. What have you learned in 2022?
I have learned many things, but the first thing I learned was if you haven't corrected yourself, you shouldn't correct another one. Like once when I was in grade 6, the first day, I saw my bestie climbing on a chair with her shoe. I scolded her for that, but the very next day, I climbed on the chair with my shoe, and the teacher saw that, so she scolded me for that. From that day, I learned that I shouldn't correct another person when I am not corrected. The second thing is, I learned you should read. So if you read, you can find new words. Because, like, I was going through the book Little Women and I found the word called encyclopedia. So encyclopedia means a person who has an impressive knowledge of facts or words. So likewise, I found many words, but one word is that, because when I was in small, I found small words. So this year, last year, I found this word. The third thing is I learned how to not be afraid. Like last year we had netballs, so netball practices. In that, when it was my turn to do something, I was so scared and I have to do it, however. So I was so scared, but still I tried to do it. And however, like I come up with it, and then now I'm not afraid of doing anything in front of anyone.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing that, Sumaya. So, overcoming fear. How did you overcome fear? Was there a process you have followed, or how did you overcome fear?
It's like it was my turn to run with the heel.
Okay.
So then I was so scared and I couldn't run. So I said the next girl who was behind me to run, and then the next chance was mine. So the teacher said, if you be afraid, you will never be able to do anything in your life. So I just tried, and from that, I didn't get afraid.
Okay, that's a good piece of advice. So I think in every year, people are learning how to overcome fear. I think overcoming fear will be a lifelong learning, right? So let's listen to Azmat's thoughts on overcoming fear. So Azmat, just tell me. So it can be right or wrong. It does not matter. I just want your opinion on that. So public speaking is like the most common fear that everybody has, right? Is it something that we should overcome, or it's okay if we don't overcome? What do you think?
Overcoming fear is one of the best things because that makes you brave and brave. That means the shyness will be go out of you, and so it makes everything easier for you. That's a good one.
Okay, so can you give me some examples? Like confidence is extremely necessary at these moments. For example, I don't know, you might be hanging out with your friends and one person is asking, hey, can you initiate this one? Can you initiate this conversation? Or can you do a presentation at school tomorrow? There are different scenarios where you must be confident. So, what are some examples you have that we have to be confident?
One day that I mean, this is like 1 year ago. Teacher called me out my teacher called my out my name, and she was just like explain the subject for me. I went in front of the class and I was a little bit shy and stuff. However, I was explaining everybody, but there was a little bit, right? There's a little bit words, and I was like very shy, and so that from starting from that day, I was too much frightened. I wasn't coming in front of the class, and so overcoming fear is something that is important.
Nice, extremely well explained. I think that example was something common that people usually come across, but I'm glad that you recall that one. So, Sumaya, public speaking fear, what are your thoughts? Is it important that we overcome that fear?
Yeah, it's important because when something important happens and you have to face that, you can face that. So if you haven't learned how to not be afraid, you couldn't do that. So if you have learned about that, you can do it.
Great. Have you come across any situations where you felt like, oh, I have to be more confident, or why am I not doing it? Have you ever pulled yourself backward because you were not feeling confident? Has that ever happened to you?
No, because I was too shy to talk with my teachers and my friends. So I didn't have that much friends when I was in grade 4 and 5. So I was too much shy. So I can't talk with anyone. I was so afraid of everyone. So then by joining to netball, I learned how to not be afraid, and also uh, because my mother, I didn't want to join netball and karate. So I don't like those two, but my mother just said you have to join this. And from netball, I learned how to do stuffs in front of everyone.
Okay, that's a great example, because I think only when you get out from your book and face only, if that's your regular way of spending your time. But the moment you get out, you try to play with your friends or you try to learn a new skill. It's interesting that you brought sports inside, because people get really closer and they really become friends when they are involved in a sports or some sort of an activity. So by default, it boosts everyone's confidence. So for me, public speaking was difficult. Like for everyone, public speaking is usually a difficult thing, especially in Sri Lanka. Public speaking is like a extracurricular activity, right? So it's like optional. But I think public speaking is a must. Everyone should be confident. Everyone should be able to express what they have learned, what are their opinions. So the more you explain something, the more you understand it. So there were times I felt really like, no, I'm not ready. Don't call me on stage. I'm just scared. What if I make a mistake on stage? So I have had those situations too. But I have also pushed myself to do it, even though I am not ready. You know what I mean? So they call me, hey, Anderson, can you come and do a speech? And I'm like, I'm not ready. But okay, let me just give it a go anyway, because I have to face that fear and try to see what I'm actually doing on stage when I'm not ready. But turns out I was able to manage it well, and I'm glad that I had that experience. It's more like facing your fears. All right. So that's it from me. So I'm hoping to see you all next week. We will be having some wonderful conversations with these amazing learners as well. And let me know what you have learned last year in 2022. Just drop us a comment in the Facebook or YouTube live, and then we can discuss about that one as well. I think everybody learns a lot of things every year. And if you can share that with other people, that can help a lot of young people, old people, regardless of the age. They will always feel supported. All right, thank you, Azmat and Sumaya and Raifa and whoever joined before. We'll see you all next week. All right. Bye bye.
Thank you, sir.
Colombo, are you really good with ideas but need help with expressing and presenting it to your team or an audience or a group of people, whatever you might call it? I have had these similar problems too. Sometimes we know what to say, how to say it, but the struggles to express it to an audience is tough to understand, and expression becomes almost impossible. I needed help. We need help. Practice, and most importantly, coaching. Now I am able to express myself. I am trying to master the skills of presentation, but perfection is a process and it's a journey. Anything to become a public speaker and to be confident is my game, and I like to do it. So do yourself a favor. Join me, click the link and sign up, and I shall be able to give you a free consultation on how we can go about the next